Welcome back to the Mentality YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and enjoy the episode. Welcome back to the Mentality Podcast. That was so loud.
Way too much energy.
Welcome back to the Mentality Podcast.
Nice voice crack.
This week we're going to be talking about partying, drinking, and doing drugs. Enjoy. I woke up with a hangover this morning that was like enough that I was reconsidering whether I wanted to go out for drinks tonight or just drink water all evening. So,
see, I don't really get hungover,
Oh, I do. I fucking hate it.
Maybe it's because I'm still young. Liver's functioning well for now. Fingers crossed.
Well, I've busted mine up.
Yeah, Ben's on his second liver already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's at the back of the transplant list now.
So,
you're at the back anyway if you're an alcoholic.
I'm pretty sure that is true. I'm pretty sure
it's 100% true. If you're an alcoholic, you're right to the back of the list.
Yeah, because you're just gonna fuck up the next one anyway. And you actually can't. You can't even drink once you get a liver replacement. You have to stay sober for apparently the rest of your life, or you can have some minor amounts of alcohol. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I don't even know how to start this episode, to be honest, so we're probably just going to have to dive right the fuck in. The reason...
Cut to us being completely smashed.
Yeah, that was the goal. That's what I was going to say. The reason this episode was on the list was because originally we were going to do this as a drunken episode, and that did not end up happening because...
We couldn't get clearance from the insurance team.
HR didn't like it.
Management didn't like it.
It is 4:20 right now, though, so we could always... Nah.
It's 4:20 p.m. on September the 2nd.
Thanks.
So it's always funny how those things line up. I literally, when you're like, I'm like, no way, and I'm like, all right.
So I mean, we could have though. We could have done some drunken episodes, but I mean that would kind of leave us incapacitated for the rest of the day, and
one day
we can't do that right now. So if you get this video to 500,000 likes on YouTube.
I was going to say, feel free to have your own drunken episode at home.
Please enjoy a beverage.
Or seven.
In your own comfort of your own home.
It's really the best way to watch the Mentality Podcast.
In fact, if you're sober, you shouldn't be watching.
No, this isn't about you.
I don't think we can actually appeal to people and call out specific groups. We need the fans. We need the money. We need the views.
No, I'm calling them out.
Okay. All right. Well.
As I stare directly into the camera.
Yeah, I think I can feel the discomfort.
Should I walk and put my hands on it?
I need to adjust this camera. Hold on.
Yeah, it looks like Ben doesn't like that I'm more prominently featured in the frame than him.
Personally, I used to never drink ever. Like, I would probably drink like once every... I just slurred my words there and I'm totally sober. That's what's even... I used to never drink.
That's the placebo effect, kids.
I used to drink probably once a month when I moved. When I lived in Winnipeg right before I moved, and then I ended up moving to Calgary, and a lot of social settings, people are drinking, and when you need to meet people, you need to be in social settings. So I started drinking a lot, or like not in a bad way, but drinking a lot more than I did, which was like once a month. It would be like every weekend, go out for drinks on like a Thursday or something, Saturday, so like stuff like that. So it ended up that started drinking a lot more when I moved, but people also drink a lot more in general there. So 2-3 drinks versus going out for a beer was a lot more common. That one caught me off guard.
Yeah, I think the pandemic had a hand in that over the last year. I found, especially during the time I wasn't working, I found there were just too many hours in the day to not drink. Like there would just come a time of day where I was like bored. And
literally,
yeah, and it was just, there's just too many hours in the day to avoid it. With all that time on my hands, it just sort of became, which is probably not a healthy thing to start just pounding beers when you're bored.
You know, I was thinking about that last week, that the whole concept of the pandemic was people were starting to drink a lot more in their own homes, just alone, right?
Yeah.
That was probably not the healthiest thing to be trending everywhere, but everyone was doing it and everyone contributed to it. But I wonder what that had and what effect that had on people. I know some people like took time away from drinking after the pandemic, but hello? Do we have a new co-host? Oh, there's a balcony right there. No one's on it though. That was fucking terrifying. I hope that Mike picked that up.
Yeah, we actually have a studio audience this week.
Yeah, they thought that was really funny when I was talking about the negative effects of drinking
Effects
in
of
the
alcohol
pandemic.
over the pandemic.
They're like, haha, taking shots on the balcony.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I was also for sure guilty of drinking a lot more during the pandemic. I had a full stocked beer fridge at all times during the pandemic, basically. And I'm just like, oh, fuck it. It's like 2 p.m. Fuck it, let's have a beer.
I actually took my first COVID shot as part of a Jello shot.
The Moderna, pack it into a Jello shot.
No, my first one was Pfizer.
Did you get 2 Pfizers?
No,
What'd you get second?
Moderna.
Crystal meth?
I mean, not at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was one of those unfortunate souls that had to mix their vaccine, and boy, did that ever fuck me right around.
Oh, yeah, I got fucked up by that, too. I don't know, I think... sorry, looking at the notes, it's really obvious here. Fuck, I totally lost my train of thought.
I don't know why that struck me as so funny.
So basically, I feel like since the pandemic started, I'm not going to say it's an unhealthy relationship, because I feel as though at any point I could just stop drinking altogether if I really wanted to. That's what you think. But no, I mean, I do enjoy, like, what the pandemic basically did was it made me into, we talked a bit about last episode how I like craft beers more. It helped me to explore different kinds of beers a bit more, which is kind of interesting.
I thought you were saying I like crack.
That too, but only on Saturdays. I have a very, very strict relationship with crack cocaine, so...
Yeah, Saturdays are for the boys.
Saturdays are for the crack.
And crack.
Yes, precisely. I don't know, I feel like I've been thinking about just taking a month off of drinking to see how I feel in the mornings, because often I find when I wake up after I've had a couple beers, I didn't sleep well, or I was up like every hour or something, and what I've started to realize is that it hasn't affected my life when I have a couple beers while I'm making dinner one day, but it affects my sleep, so I pick and choose days more cautiously now, because drinking every day during the pandemic kind of was not great for my sleep.
Yeah, it definitely affects quality of sleep. I mean, I went out the other night and had a couple drinks, and even I knew, even getting into bed, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to have a good night's sleep, and I really didn't. But luckily it was a day I didn't have to be up early for work or anything. But I've never been so drunk that it's really screwed me up. Like, I've never been blackout drunk. I've never been like falling down drunk or anything. So
I get...
Ben gets white girl wasted.
No, I was going to say I get to a point where there's pieces of the evening where I'll forget frequently when I'm out partying. But personally, one of the notes I put on here was partying versus clubbing versus going to a pub and how different it is. I find that partying often leads to me drinking more because everyone's just sitting there. There's so many beers accessible and you just drink more. But I end up just usually forgetting pieces of the evening, never whole parts, like fully blackout. But there was one time in my life where I was drinking a lot, and I remember I was on the couch, and the next thing I knew, I was waking up in a bed. I passed out. I was that drunk. And I decided I was never going to do that again because it made me very dazed. I like fully woke up not knowing where I was. It was weird. Did not enjoy it. Don't recommend.
Yeah, I can see how that would not be fun.
Yeah, so never did that again. That was when I was like 18, so gotta live and learn, I guess.
I think when you're a kid, you think you're invincible. Just in general, like you're probably like, oh, I can drink 10 beers and a few shots and I'll be fine. You know, I got a young liver for now.
Yeah.
But
that's what you think.
My big thing now is I try and, especially if I'm drinking over the course of several hours, I try to stand up and move around the room every once in a while. Because I find if you're sitting down and drinking, you have no clue how fucked you're getting. Because like the most drunk I've been, I sat at a pub for like 4 hours. We had dinner and everything, and we were drinking pitchers. I don't remember how many pitchers we finished, but at the end of the night, I was thinking, I was trying to count in my head how many beer I had, and I couldn't remember the full number, but I remember thinking like, I'm surprised how sober I feel right now. I think I drive like this. And then
you had to take a piss.
Yeah, and at the end of the night, I'm like, okay, we're leaving. Okay, I'm just gonna rock a quick piss before we go, and I stood up, and the second I was vertical, I almost went horizontal in a matter of seconds. I'm like, okay, I see what's happened here. Where's the bathroom? All the way over there, huh? Ooh.
You know, the thing is with that is that when do you usually stand up when you're drinking at a table?
You don't, because they're bringing it to you.
Well, maybe if you have to take a piss, you stand up and you walk over. But when you're drinking and you have one piss, it always becomes more. Always.
Yeah, I got a pretty good bladder. Is that the cat?
You know, I don't know. Could be my sister for all I know.
Anyway, I like to think I have a pretty good bladder. I'm pretty good about not having to, disappear to the bathroom multiple times an evening. Usually if I, started the evening empty, I'll hit one before we leave, and then I'm usually okay. But
I have a squirrel-sized
squirrel bladder.
Yes. It's like once an hour while I'm out, or once every half hour once I've had a few.
Ben's the life of the party.
No, I know people need a break. That's why I go to the washroom.
That's when we talk shit about you.
Yeah, everyone's like, fucking, will this guy ever shut up?
Fuck that guy, man.
Yeah,
Did you see his glasses? What a nerd.
Shut the fuck up. That was a 10th grade joke.
I know. How dare you have bad eyesight?
Yeah, fuck me for having bad eyesight.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like I prefer my favorite situation to be drinking in is at a pub, at a table, sitting, not clubbing, not dancing. Fuck dancing. I'm a 6'3" white guy who weighs looks like a fucking twig. You really think I'm good at dancing? The answer is fucking no. So, table with beers in hand that cost me money and I have to pay for the consequences. That's the ideal situation. Whereas if I'm at home, I'll just be like, I'll have another. So.
Yeah, my preferred drinking situation is at home in the dark. Alone.
Is that a cry for help? Because I'm not going to offer you that.
I didn't expect you to.
I will encourage it because it sounds like you're enjoying it. So do what you please. Some bad experiences from drinking. I already shared one of mine.
Worst one off the top of my head is one night me and Ben and our other friend were gaming all night online, and I sat down, and again I was sitting down and drinking, and I had about seven cans of shitty beer, and again
PBR baby.
Yeah, I wasn't going to give them some free advertising, but let's just say I wasn't able to drink PBR for a while after this. I had about 7 cans of that stuff and felt all right, sitting down, and we finished gaming probably around 1 a.m. And this is where the mistake was. I think I would have been okay if I hadn't done this, but I went downstairs and was a little hungry. Had some chips and some guacamole of all things at about 1:30 in the morning. And not long after I put that bag away, I knew I was going to be in trouble. And let's just say I didn't. Let's just say I couldn't drink PBR or eat guacamole for a while.
That's a damn shame because guacamole is fucking primo shit.
Actually, I don't know if I have had guacamole since then. Every time I work in a grocery store, and every time I walk by it, I'm kind of like,
oh. You can't even, when you're working in the grocery store, you can't even put it away. Someone brings it up and they're like, I don't want this. You're like, I'm not touching it.
Within a week, somebody came through my till with it, and I grabbed it and I looked at it, and it was kind of like, oh.
They're probably asking like, oh, what do you think of this guacamole anyways? And you're like,
tastes good going down.
Not on the other way.
Not so much the other way.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've reached a point in my life at one point where I was partying so hard repeatedly that I was puking every time I was drinking, and I'm like, maybe I need to start chilling out. And when I did that, my life became so much better because it became a 2-day commitment. I'm like, you want to go for drinks tonight? And I'm like, wait, do I have anything to do?
I have to get up early in a week. I need to.
Yeah, I gotta plan ahead. I have work in a week, so sorry, but no, if you limit yourself, it's apparently fine. And I wish I would have learned that before 22 and a half years old. But oh well. You know what concept? Totally side note here. Kind of blows my mind is being able to go to college for 3 years and still not legally drink in the United States. That's wild.
Never mind that, being able to go to fucking war in the United States.
Yeah, you've been in Afghanistan.
You can
for 3
take
years.
a bullet for your country at 18, but you can't come home and wash it down with a Coors.
Even the prohibition was obviously a stupid thing that wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
But why did they think that the drinking age being 21 is going to make any difference at all? Because I don't think it will.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter. Well, it's not like we're going to pretend that people aren't drinking before they're of age.
I started drinking like at parties and stuff when I was like 16.
Yeah, so most people I knew were drinking when they were 15, 16. I knew people who like literally would go to their cottage and their parents would like buy them alcohol because they were like, we figure you guys are going to drink anyway. We'd rather like be there to supervise you at least if you're going to like get stupid. So
that's how I spent my entire last month of high school because I was done a month early. We just drank, and I was 17, so there's no way I should have been able to get alcohol. But no, I was walking right into the liquor store telling my friend what I wanted, and he'd paid for it. Yeah. They wouldn't ID me. And one time they did. They're like, "Are you 18?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Can I see your ID?" "No, it's in the car." And they're like, "Yeah, you can leave." Yeah, okay, all right. But I still got what I wanted. I just couldn't be in the store while they were buying it.
Yeah, I remember being in a liquor mart. I was of age, but my friend was buying this stupid $8 bottle of wine that his girlfriend at the time wanted, and they carded him. He's a year older than me, but he looks younger than I am, and they carded him, and I'm just like in the background looking around. They're like, "Can I see your ID?" I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Cause like, what, you think I would drink this shit? This $8 bottle of wine with an anime character on the front of it? Please, I'm insulted. Here's my ID." But I'm like, "You really think I would drink this shit, man? Jeez."
Yeah, here's my ID, but if you have an ID, you probably don't want to be drinking this.
No, it was. It looked like bubblegum flavored crap.
Honestly, I don't mind wine, but if it has an anime character, I can't imagine
it was a stupid looking label, and the bottle was like $8. I'm like, I can't believe you think I would drink this.
I've paid for beers that cost more than that bottle of wine. Back in elementary, middle school, and high school, when they were teaching us about like alcohol, well, I guess elementary they didn't. They would always make it sound really, really bad. Like, people are going to peer pressure you into drinking. People are going to make you snort cocaine on their table at 12, and people are going to make you shoot up crystal meth. And when I was 16, I went to my first party, and they're like, do you want another shot? And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." They're like, "Okay, cool." Peer pressure only came when I got older, started partying with older people. People who are in their 30s, they have way more peer pressure than 18-year-olds. But here's the thing, like, you can always say no. So I don't know. But one thing that did surprise me is that everyone does cocaine.
Well, if you're in Winnipeg, you're doing meth.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's fair. It surprised me even more when I moved to Calgary, because everyone is like, "Oh yeah, cocaine at the party, nothing weird." And to me, it was like such a culture shock, because even here, I feel like everyone kind of knew that it was probably meth anyways, or there was fentanyl in it or some shit like that. But like, I don't know, maybe it's because people in Calgary can actually afford it to be imported, but here I don't think they could.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why, like touching on fentanyl, why it's a good thing that marijuana is legal now, because like you don't know what, if you're buying stuff from the street, you don't know what they're cutting it with.
Yeah, that's scary shit.
Like fentanyl, that one little granule of that is enough to kill you, basically. So I mean, the fact that there's actual places now where you can go and get weed and know that it's not cut with anything, it's not going to have anything stupid in it that could kill you. I mean, that to me is a weight off if I was somebody that smoked pot. But
yeah,
I don't know, I think cocaine isn't it really the drug of choice for young professionals?
Isn't it? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's how I always interpret it. It seems like these Wall Street dickheads
love it.
That seems to be the young businessman designer thing, that they all do cocaine. I might be painting in broad strokes here, but
I don't know. I feel like if it has to go through your nose, you could probably just have a cup of coffee.
Yeah. My favorite thing is that in movies they used to use B12 as like chopped up B12.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as the substitute, because it looks like it when you chop it up. But David Spade told a story how he did 12 lines of that stuff for a take. Jesus. And he was up for like 3 days afterward.
Jesus Christ.
Because B12 is like it has like an energy effect in large quantities. So
that's kind of hilarious, actually.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen that. I don't know. I feel like peer pressure is, I don't know. Have you had many experiences of peer pressure?
Yeah, because through high school, I actively did not drink. Like I sort of was known as the guy that didn't drink or didn't do anything. So a lot of people wanted me to. Yeah, nobody ever pinned me down and like put a straw in my mouth and tried to like, get me to drink a beer or something or get me to do anything. Nobody was trying to like offer me anything. Like they got to the point where people stopped offering me stuff because they were like, yeah, we just know you won't. So
yeah, that's fair.
I was definitely the life of the party back then. Let's just say. I didn't get invited.
I was going to say, I never got really invited to parties because I frequently would just say no to going because parties usually happen on Friday and Saturday night. And through cadets, I had to be there at Sunday every Sunday morning at 8:30. I had to be at cadets for like, there was 2 days that we would go. And being out partying till late on a Saturday night does not contribute to being at cadets at 8:30 in the morning. So I just really never went to parties, and when I did, it was just like I was the odd guy out who was never there. So I don't know. It's not like I really gave a shit. Probably looking back, I probably put more weight on it than it even mattered. Because that's affected my life so greatly now. Not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the whole emphasis is. I'm pretty introverted in general. Like the whole thing with parties was always kind of foreign to me. It was never something that I was super, super like felt that I was missing out on. Because I was always more content to like sit in my room and listen to an album.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like people. Because I remember going through a phase where I thought I was weird. Because I didn't like doing that because everyone else was doing it. And I remember thinking like, why is everyone else all keen on this and I'm at home listening to a record all the time? And through trial and error you just kind of realize like, I'm just not a party guy. Like I like seeing people, I like hanging out with my friends, but it's definitely not an everyday, every weekend type thing.
That's the thing with high school though, right? Is everyone does the same shit, and I feel like everyone always thinks like, oh, after high school we're gonna stay friends. And then you realize that the only reason that you were friends was because it was
you were
convenient.
in high school, yeah, because you were seeing each other every day, whether you liked it or not. Yeah, no, like I'm trying to think how many people from high school I actually still talk to. It's got to be less than 10.
I couldn't even. I could probably count them on one hand.
Well, should we? That's some great podcasting. Let's just sit here and list off
names that have
Let's just sit here and list off names that no one's going to know except for us.
Actually, interesting. I don't think I've ever seen, other than that one time where we were playing Grand Theft Auto where you were slightly intoxicated.
Was it noticeable?
No, I had no idea. How do you act when you're drunk?
I get real talkative, I've noticed, which I don't like. It's really funny because the couple times where I've been inebriated enough to notice that I was like out of it, I get real talkative and I can't stop. And I'm aware that I'm talking too much and I can't stop. And it's really annoying because in my head I'm going, shut up, shut up, shut up, because I just keep rambling. Yeah. And I can't stop. So I try to, once I start really yapping and repeating myself, that's when it's time to cut me off.
I do the same. But I've been told I'm also really intense when I'm drunk, and that like I want to have an intense conversation about something. I've definitely had a few politics conversations while drunk. Let me tell you, that's not ideal because everyone else at the party is like, would you shut the fuck up, please?
Yeah, well, everyone else at the party votes conservative, so.
Well, actually, no. That was a weird thing, but I don't know. I will talk about anything when I'm drunk. I don't really have limits. That's the problem. Someone brings something up, I'll keep talking about it. But I don't know. That one time, I could definitely tell you were being talkative now that you say it. I also remember you saying that you were struggling with the driving portion of Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, did I?
I think so. And then that was immediately followed it up that evening with you texting me and saying that we should record an episode of This Podcast Has No Name, the name of our former podcast. And then 2 weeks later, we were planning this podcast. So it wasn't that quick, but.
Oh, was it? Yeah, see, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that definitely happened. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not recording a podcast episode at 12:30 in the morning. But hey.
Something must have happened that was noteworthy because that was probably me being that out of it because it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I think it would have been an interesting episode for me to experience, but I don't think
I think Ben would have loved editing that.
Yeah, as you're over the toilet.
Yeah. Microphone in one hand and throwing up and
yeah, wonderful. That'll
holding
be
my hair back in the other.
It's a good thing that wasn't a video podcast. So you mentioned earlier about being an introvert, and I've started to realize recently that I actually really enjoy kind of just being at home. I enjoy, like, I don't want to go to these huge parties. I mean, I'll go to a concert and stuff like that, like EDM shows, but I'm certainly not a big fan of going out to like a bunch of different bars, bar hopping, going out on the popular avenues where there's all these bars lined up. That is not really for me. I'll like have a couple people over, I'll go hit a pub for some drinks, go to someone's house. But like, I think what we were talking about with high school and that everyone was doing the same thing. Back then I was such an introvert, so the parties I didn't really enjoy anyways. Now I'm like, all right, let's do parties because it's not going out. It's easier. So social settings, being in social settings, I find it's like taxing, I guess, especially when it comes to drinking.
Yeah. It's weird because like everything I get told is I was a really outgoing kid up until about junior high, and something changed in me, I guess, around then where I just stopped being really outgoing and started staying in a lot more and doing my own thing, and it's just carried on to now. I can't really pinpoint why. I think about it sometimes, but also I guess it's just who I am. I mean, concerts, if you think about it, like that's not really an extroverted activity because it's not like you're talking to people anyway.
No.
Like that's the thing there's so frequently now, like there's been bands that come here that I want to see, and my taste in music is so different from the people I hang out with that I have a difficult time finding somebody to go with me. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, why don't I just go alone? It's not like if we went to a concert I could talk to you anyway.
No, you're in
same
the
with
zone.
a comedy show. Like you're not really there to talk. You're there to watch the show. So
and the likelihood is that you could meet people at that concert that you would go with, I would think, if you were looking. But
yeah, I'm sure I could go
do
on.
that.
I mean, with the age of social media, I'm sure I could find somebody in the city that likes the band that I could, probably vet beforehand. Don't want to show up and meet a serial killer, but that took a turn.
Yeah, that sure did. Well, I don't know.
Craigslist.
That was like
and all
that went from 0 to 100, but you getting murdered.
That's just how I am, man.
Point, actually, I guess I never really thought about that. I go to shows a lot of the time with people, but yeah, you talk to them after the show's over, before the show starts. But
yeah, but not during.
No,
I mean, like,
it's so loud you can't even hear them.
Yeah, like I only recently, and I wish I had done this when I was younger, only recently did I actually start wearing ear protection to concerts.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Especially because I go to a lot of metal shows. And like everybody has that sensation like where you go to a concert and like your ears are ringing a bit when you get home, and for me it always would be gone by the next day. And then until a couple of years ago I went to a Godsmack concert, and where I was sitting was like kind of directly in line with the speaker, and I got home and like my ears were ringing real hard, and then I like, oh, this always happens when I go to a show, it'll be gone by the morning. Woke up the next morning, it was the same. Like it was not any less than when I got home the night before.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. It took almost a week.
I went to a punk rock show back in 2019 right before COVID.
Was it NoFX?
It was a local
No.
band. But they were playing in a basement bar type thing. Like they do all sorts of shows. They have a stage up, a restaurant upstairs, and then you go downstairs for your show later in the evening. That's the way this business works. And the only thing is that there's speakers surrounding the area where people are standing. So no matter where you are, you've always got speakers surrounding you. And basically, I went home that night and my ears were ringing, and woke up the next morning and I couldn't hear in my left ear. It wasn't ringing. I just could not hear. So I had to tell everyone to go to my right side when I was talking to them. Like I worked in retail back then too, so people probably thought that I was like fucking partying hard on a Thursday night, and I sure fucking was. But no, it was concerning. But when I went to the couple shows I went to this summer, they were all outside, so the noise kind of disperses, and there was like thousands of people there. It wasn't like a group of 100 people in a tiny little show, so my ears were fine. It was actually fine. There was not even a little bit of ringing, so.
I definitely have a little bit of lingering tinnitus that I hear. It's only really when it's like quiet, you can kind of hear it a bit, which is, I sleep with a fan on, so it doesn't really bother me, but I definitely have done some damage to my hearing with all the concerts I've gone to.
The different like wavelengths of sound that you can hear as you're younger, and as you get older, you hear less and less of them. Have you listened to one of those recently or tried one of those tests? man, I can hear so much less than I could hear when I was 16. It's fucked up.
Yeah. Well, that one freaked me out, especially because I play music, so ears are kind of important.
Yeah, it's
just a little important for playing music. So at that point I was like, hey, I need to not fuck around with this anymore, because if I go deaf, that's it for me. So I went out and bought like proper professional like earplugs, like shelled out probably $100 for a pair of like good quality ones that will last.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, I was like, I can't fuck around with this anymore. I really thought I was going to have like really bad permanent tinnitus, because it took almost a week to go away.
Yeah, I'm pretty protective of my I guess you could say body. Like, I don't want to break a bone. I don't want my ears damaged. I want my eyesight to be as good as it possibly can, because it's already not great. But I mean, like, I'm not here saying that I think I'm gonna, you could die tomorrow, whatever, shit happens, and I understand that, but I'm gonna try and make sure I have ears and eyes and shits while I am here. So I don't know, I don't do dumb shit.
Ears and eyes and shit.
The ears and eyes do not shit, but that is also an important thing.
No, if your ears and eyes are doing that, you need to talk to a doctor, probably right away.
Anyways, that's it, I think. Do you have any final words you want to tell people to encourage them to take a shot, perhaps?
Oh, I mean, if you've got to this point in the episode and you're not completely smashed, then you're doing it wrong.
All right. That's it for this episode. We're going to be back next week. Next, we're going to be talking about influences and role models. Yes, I did just look back at the notes because I totally forgot what we were going to be talking about. So if you want to watch that, you want to listen to that, go subscribe on YouTube, like the video of this podcast, get ready for the next week's podcast. If you're not following on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, you should be. So go follow, go subscribe, and we'll see you next week.